What's going on YouTube? Back with another video on the channel, and for today's video I thought I would do just kind of a little update to what's been going on with my LG G4 since my past few uploads where I've talked about a couple of issues, and just thought I would kind of update you guys on what's going on and if I was able to get those things fixed. So let's go ahead and address the first one, and this was the biggest issue. If you haven't checked out any of the prior videos, I've been having a hell of a time with this display when it comes to it forcing down the resolution on its own. So for example, if I pull up the dashboard right now, you see over there on the right, it says the resolution is 4K, right? When I go into a game like Call of Duty, it's going to do 2 handshakes before it starts getting into the menus. It's on that second handshake where the screen goes out, comes back in. You'll see the resolution go out, come back in. It'll go from 4K and it'll go down to either 1440p or 1080p. And if I don't have the game dashboard pulled up, I won't know that it's done that on its own. So the only way to be sure is every time I load into this game, I have to pull up the game dashboard to make sure that the resolution stays 4K. And oh, by the way, if it doesn't, if it moves itself down to 1440 or 1080, the only way I can get this display on this particular HDMI put to go back to 4K is I have to actually connect the console, which is a PS5 Pro, to another input. But when I connect it back to that input, HDMI 3 being the culprit here, it'll be fine for so many startups, for so many times of loading into Call of Duty. And this happens on more than Call of Duty, by the way. I was able to replicate this issue as well on God of War. So let me pull this down. Let's go ahead and put this back up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load into Call of Duty for the first time today. I'm gonna see if it tries to force the resolution down to 1440 or 1080 here on the video. And if it doesn't, that'll make several startups in a row where it hasn't, and maybe I figured out the issue. But I'm gonna show you what I changed in the settings here on the display and the console to keep it from forcing down the resolution. So if you're somebody who found this video because you're having that same problem, you're looking for a resolution, hopefully this is the resolution to that issue. All right, so first thing, let's go ahead and load into the game and see what's going on. There's handshake 1. Here's number 2. This is where it's gonna force it down or not. It stayed 4K. So I've been able to replicate a successful load into the Call of Duty game or other games. Keep in mind, again, I say like God of War, it would also have the problem. I've been able to replicate a successful load into the game without it forcing the resolution down. So the next step for me is to show you what I did to have this sort of success. So let me go ahead and back out of the game, and we'll do one more test after I show you the setting just to be sure, right? So we're gonna wait. It's doing its handshakes. You see 4K 60, that's what the PS5 Pro home screen is. Let's go on up to settings and let me show you what I did. I'm actually gonna back this out so we can see. So let me go on down to screen and video, video output, and you see right here where it says resolution, you have a whole bunch of choices here to make. It came standard as just automatic, okay? And that's the way I left it because in my opinion, for a display and a console of this caliber and certainly price point, my basic level of expectation here would be that I could have this set at automatic and the display would put up 4K properly when it's supposed to and go to other resolutions when it's supposed to. Not that I have to come in here and babysit the resolution, but I digress. This is what I've had to do is I just went in here and forced everything to 4K. And I want some comments below. Is this the wrong move? And I asked this question because I started thinking about what games do I typically play? What games do I play the most? And I have to tell you, there's not a single game that I play with any consistency that would necessitate me to go down to 1440p or 1080p to play the game how I want to. So from my perspective, I don't know if there's a reason not to have this force 4K on every game I play. It doesn't matter. But those of you that are probably smarter than me in display technology and console technology, leave me some comments below if this is a mistake, okay? And if it helps at all, I'll go back out to the menu. You'll see here, look at the game tiles. These are the games that I typically will play, and truth be told, I spend the majority of time on Call of Duty. college football I play a lot. I used to play Dying Light 2 a lot. You'll see I have limited time here on God of War, limited time, but these are the sort of games that I will frequent every now and then when I just want to get away from skill-based matchmaking, or if I'm just tired of messing around on college football. To wrap things up on the resolution, I did promise that I will go back into the game. Let's see if it's going to do its 2 handshakes. Let's see if I still stick with 4K. And I'm expecting it to stick with 4K, and here's why. And I was proven right. Here's why I was expecting it to stick with 4K. Because now that the console is forcing the resolution on the display to be 4K, my basic level of expectation would be if for some reason the display, the HDMI port, or the HDMI cable just doesn't want to put up 4K on the screen, I would expect that resolution to stick at 4K, but I would just probably have a black screen here and I couldn't see or hear anything. But if I'm wrong about that, I want some comments below, because this has been a super annoying issue. If you're a follower of the channel, you've seen a couple of videos here with the G4 and the PS5 Pro where I've talked about this. I'm hopeful that by forcing 4K resolution on everything on the PS5, that I finally fix that to where I don't have to pull up this game dashboard every time I load into the game. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time here towards the end of the video talking about the other issue, which has everything to do with this right here, being the LG Magic Remote. All right. And the issue being, whenever I click the settings button and it pulls up that game dashboard, I get really, really heavy lag with the mouse pointer. So I'm going to try it right now. Let's just see what happens. So there you go. It pulled it up just fine. And the mouse pointer, while it certainly does not feel as smooth as my LG C2, my C2 is on point. Like, it just feels buttery smooth. There's no kind of judder with the mouse movement or the pointer. But I have to tell you that I've done a couple of things off camera to help with this ridiculous situation of this mouse pointer, this magic wand. Because I got to tell you, half the time I pull this up to go into settings, I have to do this, okay? You know, sorry with the quick motion, but I have to like shake the remote to get it to like lock in and be like, okay, this is where I want to go. Otherwise, it'll like get stuck down here at one of the bottom corners. You know, and I'm over here like going like this, you know, like, come on, wake up, and it's not doing anything. And that's super annoying with a display of this caliber, right? But one of the things I did, I changed out the batteries. While I don't think that the batteries for the amount of time and usage of this display should be an issue, I went ahead and changed those. That didn't necessarily correct the issue. So there's been 2 changes with this, and I'm actually going to do it again while I'm talking because I don't trust this remote. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and hit the settings button. And you can see here it stayed in the middle. And again, while I'm not super excited about the movement because I'm used to the movement on the C2, it's a hell of a lot better. And there's really been 2 changes here since I first introduced that issue on the channel. Number 1, I updated to LG software update, and I'm going to go ahead and pull it up because it gives me another excuse to use the remote here. Go to support, software update. I updated to LG software version 23.20.42. That seems to have helped a little bit. But then after that, I just went ahead and did a hard reset with the remote. In other words, I unpaired it and then I paired it back to the display. And so far, this will be 3 times. I pull up the dashboard, it pulls up, and the pointer seems to be at least somewhat accurate. It's at least functional, okay? And I probably wouldn't have too many complaints about the remote functionality there if my C2 did not exist, because that, I click the settings button and it really works well. And considering this is a G4 in the LG TV lineup, I had higher expectations for the remote functionality. And if you're gonna put, you know, a gimmicky function on a TV like this where you have a mouse pointer and you could just, you know, point and click, it needs to work flawlessly, especially on your top tier display. But anyway, I just thought I'd film a little update here to let you know that I do have the PS5 Pro back over here on HDMI 3. And since I have gone in and forced 4K resolution on the PS5 Pro, I have not once in several startups, several times loading into Call of Duty and God of War, I have not once had the display have any forced resolution hiccups. So happy to report that. I'm hopeful that's a fix. You better believe that if it's not, and I encounter this issue again, I'll do a follow-up video to be sure. But if you're somebody who is experiencing the same issue on your LG display, it doesn't even have to be a G4, by the way. If you're having this issue with your PS5 or your PS5 Pro, try forcing your resolution to 4K on everything. And if you're somebody who plays in a manner where you need other resolutions, this may not be the solution for you, but it may be worth it. It may be worth a look anyway, just to make sure. So that's gonna do it for the video. If you did enjoy this content, be sure to hit the like button. It gets this circulated out to more people who might be having these issues, that might be looking for help on it. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time to go ahead and click subscribe and click the bell, because I have a lot more content coming. I have more game testing videos here with the PS5 Pro coming. I'm gonna pull up some games. I'm gonna do comparison videos between the gameplay on a base PS5 versus the Pro, see if it's worth it or not. If you're into that sort of thing, hit subscribe and hit the bell. But with all that being said, until the next one.